Welcome back to the Accountability Hour, the podcast where we tackle double standards, self-improvement, and the messy realities of relationships. This is Lynn Watchhorn. Are men afraid of relationships? This is something I keep seeing all over the place. Women think that men are afraid of commitment, or men are afraid of having relationships. But this is another situation where a lot of women are getting it completely wrong. Men aren't running from relationships. They're not afraid of commitment. And they are avoiding relationships because they're emotionally broken, terrified of being vulnerable, or whatever silly reason people are coming up with right now. What are men actually afraid of? Loving the wrong woman. When a man loves, he really loves. He invests, he provides, he protects, he builds, he gives everything. And if he chooses wrongs, he doesn't just lose her, he loses himself. First of all, a man's love is often taken for granted. Men are expected to invest, and a man will move mountains for the woman he chooses. He'll sacrifice, he'll work harder, and he'll put her first. But too often, instead of appreciation, he gets the entitlement. And we see this everywhere. Holy cow. Social media is full of videos of what women expect these days, and they're often superficial demands. It's a huge list. Those sweet, thoughtful things he does, expected. His consistency, taken for granted. The sacrifices he makes, invisible. Men don't fear loving. They fear loving a woman who stops valuing what he brings to the table. And it's really easy for women to have a list of demands if they're not the ones heavily investing in their relationships as much, especially in the beginning stages, because men tend to do most of the work. Loving the wrong woman can cost a man everything. When a woman chooses wrong, yes, she wastes time, it's not right, it's not great. But when a man chooses wrong, he can lose his money, time, and all sorts of other things. His reputation. If they're married, that's a lot of loss in itself. He could potentially be on the hook for alimony or child support. And his identity, he bends over backwards to be the perfect man, only to just get discarded when it no longer benefits her. A man knows that one decision in love can destroy his entire life, and that's why he's careful. That's why he hesitates, because it just makes sense. The risk of being used. A lot of men aren't scared to give love. They're scared they'll only be loved as long as they're useful. I saw a comment the other day where a woman was responding to a man saying that she doesn't understand what the big deal is. What's the big deal if he's being used for money as long as he has money, right? This woman was actually clueless on why a man wouldn't want to be used, even though he has the resources. A lot of men are fully aware that even if they're successful right now, something crazy could happen tomorrow and he could lose it all. He could lose his job, something could go seriously wrong and he could lose his health. And this woman genuinely didn't get it, and that really scares me. You know, she'll love him when he has money, but will she love him if he loses it? She loved his ambition, but will she love him when he's exhausted and needs her support? She loved his strength, but will she love him when he breaks down? Men are often seen as a tool rather than a partner. Betrayal also hits men very differently. A lot of women have a support system outside of their partner, and I'm a firm believer that everybody should have that if possible. A lot of men currently don't have that. And when a man loves, he loves deeply, and when that love is betrayed, he's not just hurt, he's destroyed. If she cheats, he questions his worth. If she leaves, he questions his purpose. If she lies, he questions everything. When a woman's heart gets broken, she can cry, vent, and find support. When a man gets his heart broken, he's told to man up. No sympathy, no validation, just pain. And men also don't want to be trapped in a loveless relationship. A lot of men are terrified that they'll end up in a long-term relationship where they feel alone, unwanted, or a paycheck with legs. He fears marrying a woman who stops sleeping with him, but still expects loyalty. He fears coming home to a wife who resents him instead of cherishing him. He fears committing to someone who loved the idea of him, but not actually him. Men don't avoid love, they avoid wrong love, because once a man truly commits, he is all in, and if he bets on the wrong woman, the losses can just ruin him forever. A lot of men love harder than they're given credit for. A man's love isn't fragile, it's rare, and it's powerful. But if he's not in a position where he feels safe to love, he's not going to take that risk. And it's not because he's afraid of it, but again, he knows loving the wrong woman could cost him everything. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might benefit from it. And always, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and let me know your thoughts.